Okay, in this video, we're going to continue our discussion of absolute value equations. Again, my big trick is to take both cases. And so I have the absolute value of 2x minus 7 over 9 equals 1. Again, the absolute value can take negative numbers, turn them into positive. Positive numbers stay the same. So let's see what happens. What if it was negative on the inside here? If it was negative and then it turned positive, what would x have to be? So I can solve for that. We'll call that case A. In case B, I have 2x minus 7 over 9 equals 1. And we can see what that would be. All right, well, all the signs are going to change here. So I have negative 2x plus 7 over 9 equals 1. I can multiply both sides by 9, so I get negative 2x plus 7 equals 9. Now I can subtract both sides by 7, and I get 2. And now I can divide both sides by negative 2. I get negative 1. So it looks like that might be an answer that I want to check, but we'll see that in just a second. In case B, what if it was positive? Then I multiply both sides by 9, so I get 2x minus 7 equals 9. And I can add 7 to both sides, so I get 2x equals 16. I can divide both sides by 2, x equals 8. Okay, so I want to check both of these answers and see if they actually work. Let's see, so if I check negative 1, I'm going to get, do I have enough room down here? Not really. So I can check, and that's going to be 2 times negative 1 minus 7 over 9. Claim that that's equal to 1. All right, so that's negative 2 minus 7 is negative 9. And so this is going to become negative, absolute value of negative 1 equals 1. And yeah, that does work. So this does work. All right, well, I'm going to erase this so I have more room. But that one does work. Let's try 8. So if x equals 8, what happens? Well, this will become 2 times 8 minus 7 over 9, and we're claiming that it equals 1. Okay, so that would be 16 minus 7 divided by 9. Yeah, that does work, right? That's going to work. So we've shown that both of those work. Okay, awesome. So let's do another example, but both of those worked, so we have 2 answers. All right, for this next example, we have the absolute value of 4t plus 5 plus 7 equals 6, and we're trying to solve for that t. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is isolate the absolute value so I can take both cases. And so now I have 4t plus 5 equals negative 1. Okay, so I need to take both cases, right? But how can this be? How can the absolute value be equal to a negative number? How can that happen? The answer is it can't. So there's no way you can take the absolute value of a number or an expression and it's going to be equal to a negative number. So the answer is no solution. Okay? There's no solution there's no number that I can put into t and that this absolute value is going to equal a negative 1. Okay, so that one's easy if you know what you're looking for, but it's kind of confusing if you don't. So yeah, look out for those kinds of predicaments. All right, for this example, we have the absolute value of 3x plus 3 is equal to 12. So I'm going to take, I don't see anything weird about this one, so I'm going to take both cases. Case A, what if the inside was negative equals 12? There we go. And case B, what if it was positive? All right. Well, that would turn into negative 3x minus 3 equals 12. I can add 3 to both sides, and that becomes 15. I can divide both sides by negative 3, and that becomes negative 5. Okay. Now, I'm going to subtract 3 on both sides there. So I get 3x equals 9. If I divide both sides by 3, I get 3. So I need to check both of those answers and see what happens. So the absolute, I'm going to check x equals -5 first. 3, -5 plus 3 equals 12. Does this work? Yeah, so you get -15 plus 3 equals 12. And by doing that, you're going to get -12. So the absolute value of -12 equals 12. Yep, it sure does. All right, what about this one? So you have, if you check for x equals 3, it looks like this one is going to work as well. Plus 3 equals 12. So I get 9 plus 3 equals 12. The absolute value of 12 equals 12. Yep, it does. So for this one, both of them worked. Cool. I think we have time for one more example, so let's go ahead and do it. Let's take both cases. Case A, what if it was negative inside 2b plus 9? Case B, what if it was positive 2b plus 9 equals 3 equals 3? Okay. Now, to do that, you have -2b minus 9 equals 3. I can add 3 to both sides. 2b equals 12. I can divide both sides by -2. I get b equals -6. So I need to check that one. On this side, I need to subtract 9 on both sides. So I get 2b equals -6. Divide both sides by 2. I get -3. All right, now I can plug those back in and see what happens. So I guess I'll switch to red. When I plug those in, I'll get 2 times -6 plus 9 equals 3. And that is 12. So -12 plus 9 equals 3. Yeah, that does work. So this one checks out. Okay, what about this one? 2 times -3 plus 9, whoops, equals 3. And so that's going to be -6 plus 9 equals 3. Yeah, that does work out. So both of these worked out. Awesome. All right, so those are the two answers for this one, and I hope that helps. I hope it makes sense of why we have to take both cases. Again, it's because the absolute value will turn negative expressions into positive, and then we need to check for both of those, but you can see that we're getting two answers for that. All right, I hope that helps. Please reach out if you have any questions, and I'll see you next time.